Buona dimineața. It is day 52 for Paul and Tammy, backpacking and brews on the Via Transilvanica, our trek across Romania. We are leaving Canton Cosava. It's a little early in the morning. We had an early start today, around 6:40 or so. It's still a little dark out in the forest here. We're heading downhill. We got maybe, I think, a 15-mile day today to Prigor, where we've got a reservation, I think, via travelminute.ro at Canton Prigor or something along those lines. So that's I think I received a email confirmation. So, but it's the first time I used travelminute.ro to make a reservation. I think I tried WhatsApp. They weren't in WhatsApp or something. So anyway, long day today, boy. So Canton Cosava, our host Radul, he met us there. He actually, we mentioned this before, he was driving up to the place when we were walking up, and he met us up there. We had a fire going in the front yard, and that's where we had barbecue. Had meat and some, looked like bacon, but real fatty stuff. And some peppers, bell peppers, and tomatoes. So the place looks spectacular on the outside. What a neat little building, kind of stone structure, of course. Well, with some wood up top. But there's no electricity. There's no Wi-Fi, no internet, no 4G, no cell connection, nothing. And no running water, and no flush toilets or anything like that. So there's an outhouse in the back of the property where you can do your business, but nothing inside. Apparently, well, not apparently, he has toilets inside, but they got clogged up. He's working on building a sewage system to fix that. So I think the outhouse thing is a temporary solution. But the water he brings, when he comes, he brings a bunch of water, fresh water to drink. But there's plenty of water to be had all around his property, because we were looking at those aqueducts yesterday. Those aqueducts are something that were built in the late 40s and 50s, 1950s. And they basically bring water from this mountain, and they push it to downhill to where it's needed for irrigation, I think, and possibly drinking water. It wasn't entirely clear, but it's what a heck of a system. It grabs, you can maybe hear there's a big old stream flowing next to us right now. The water just flows off of this mountain. Guess there's a big plateau up top, and maybe it just when it snows and rains, it kind of sits in there, and then it works its way underground and down the mountain. But they built this huge aqueduct system. What we saw earlier, I think I took a picture of it. I may not have did a video. It actually is channeled to this one spot where it cuts through the mountain and then heads downhill, through the mountain, and then down to the villages, I guess, below. Really, sort of an engineering marvel. But anyway, so that was Canton Cosava. So there's no lights in the rooms or anything like that. The sleeping accommodations are air mattresses with sleeping bags, which were comfortable enough. And and the room that we slept in, there's like 2 bedrooms. He sleeps in one, and then he's got 1, 2, like 3 sort of double beds in the other bedroom. And what was I going to say? Yeah, they're all sort of air mattresses with sleeping bags that you can use. And oh, I was going to say there's a wood-fired stove heater in that bedroom as well, which I fired up last night so that we could be at least, bring the temperature up in the room before we went to bed, so it's not so cold. It always seems to get cold in those masonry buildings, the rooms, even if you don't leave the heat on for one day, it cools down pretty quickly. So anyway, it was comfortable enough, and just not all the amenities that one might expect or desire. But who knows? Other people like being cut off from the rest of the world and living sort of more of a rustic and or primitive lifestyle, even if it is for just one night. So anyway, heading to Prigor today. Hopefully should get in pretty early. Didn't get great sleep last night, so it'll be nice to maybe take a nap or something. And I think it's mostly downhill, so we should be, we'll hope things work out. The temperature, it looks like it's a partly cloudy day. I think there is a chance of rain. There was a chance of rain yesterday, but it didn't rain, so we're glad about that. At least not for any length of time. So, as they say, Kale Buna. Fire salamander. Haven't seen one of those in a while. He's a big one. There he goes, heading to the water. So we're following a creek pretty much all the way down the mountain. The creek's turning into a river almost. And here's one of the feeder creeks into the river that we're following. But just beautiful waterfalls that we're seeing all along the way. Alrighty, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon, and we are on our last 2 miles probably into Prigor. We came out down the mountain from Canton Cosava and followed that creek river pretty much all the way down to this ground here. Now it looks like we're just in sort of farmland. Unfortunately, we're stuck on this road for the last bit into Prigor. Fortunately, it's a Sunday afternoon and traffic has been pretty darn light. So it's been be at least an 18-mile day. Well, even though it was all downhill just about, it still was a grind, especially after yesterday's 16-mile day uphill. So yep, we'll be glad to get to our pensione and just relax and maybe have a beer. So I wanted to mention that yesterday when we were walking up to Canton Cosava, we ran into a photographer who was commissioned by Liesa Social to take pictures of hikers and scenery and whatnot along the Via Transilvanica. Apparently he had just started working 3 days ago, and he was working his way north on the trail, hiking with backpack and everything, camera, an umbrella too that he had yesterday because there was potential to rain. And he was just hoping to run into people on the trail. And we were the second people he ran into on the trail, or met on the trail. Unfortunately, the first set, there were 2 bikers, and they just whizzed right by him. So he didn't have a chance to talk to them to say, hey, can I take your picture? They just kept on going. So, but for us, we stopped and chatted, and he took some pictures of us, which is kind of cool. And we had known he was going to be here on the trail that day. We got heads up from the folks at Liesa Social, so we knew, but we just had no idea where we were going to meet him or anything. But inevitably, if two sets of people are going in opposite directions on the same trail, they're going to run into each other unless one happens to be off the trail doing something else. But anyway, ran into him. He took some pictures and we signed some waiver form saying they could use our pictures for social media and advertising, I guess, and their website and their newsletter, etc. So yeah, we had no issues with that. So anyway, we're excited to see. We do get the newsletter via email, so maybe we'll see our pictures in lights.